It's an interesting path I took, I gotta say. I went into children's aid at the age of 10 for the second time. Not the first, the second time. And I immediately went into the group home circuit. That's where I started meeting all of these people with incredible levels of trauma. I mean, hardcore trauma. I might have been shunted around from family member to family member, foster home to foster home, most of which I've blocked out of my memory. Probably a reason for that. But yeah, there's so much that these people lived through before they even hit fucking puberty. So much trauma. And unfortunately, at the end of the 90s, the answer for most of that was to feed people pills. Dexedrine, Risperdal, all kinds of freaking amphetamines, SSRIs, mood control disorder pills, all of it. And that's how they dealt with our fucked up, traumatic lives. They hand us medications and said, here, just be dependent on these drugs. And, you know, we're teenagers, we're youth. Sure, we had the option of therapy, but come on, we're just a bunch of pissed off, traumatic teenagers. Do you really think therapy right at that point in time is going to be the most effective answer? No, 90% of us were too busy rebelling and stonewalling the shit out of that therapy. There's a lot of success stories, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of fucking failure too. And it sucked. Those failures and those people who never managed to resolve that trauma and who were fed chunks of meth or amphetamine-based pharmaceuticals their entire childhoods, such as myself, who was on this shit from the time I was literally 4 years old, that's what the rules were. Give them drugs, feed them platitudes, and send them on their way. And now, we've had no reasonable mental health services since at least the Harper government. We've had fuck all as far as social services go. They keep getting chopped and chopped and chopped. I remember when the Sally Ann downtown was built. That was the last major innovation to homelessness in this city's existence. And that was 30 fucking years ago. Like, that was somewhere around 2004. Something like that, when they closed down the old crack zone at Dundas and Richmond and York, and then they opened up the new Sally Ann. That was 30 years ago. And that place, I walked in there once, it was like I was walking back into jail. I can't reasonably expect anybody to live like that. I have dragged friends and family out of that place to sleep on my couch because I will not set foot in there. Hell no. I don't know how the Sally manages to function the way it does. I'm glad it exists, but goddamn. Hell no. The reality is, when you live a life of fucking trauma and just layer upon layer upon layer of trauma, and then that never gets dealt with, and all the answers you've been taught your entire life is take drugs, guess what you're probably going to end up doing? Living a life of trauma while taking drugs, because that's what society taught you is the goddamn answer. And now we're blaming all these people for being junkies and addicts and dependent on these medications. Whether they're pharmaceutical, I don't care. It's all the same to me. You want to give me amphetamines? Fine, let's go get some Dexedrine. I qualify for a script. I'm loopy as fuck. That's the sad reality. This is the life we were given. This is the life we were taught. And many of us never figured out another way. So let's make a difference. Let's stop saying it's your fault that your life sucks. Because sometimes it is. But in my experience, there's a whole lot more to it than that. Love your neighbor. Love your friends and family as they are.